We previously provided a couple of trapping videos, an introduction to trapping, Season 2, Episode 2, and an introduction to trapping, Looking for Sign, Season 2, Episode 3. These were brief introductions, not meant to cover the full spectrum of the requirements for trapping, but more to spark interest and see what trapping can offer on a more personal basis. The third trapping video is a brief introduction into the trapper's world. I've harvested one, now what? It's a brief introduction on how to prepare a pelt for sale. For introduction's sake, we're going to show you how to prep a muskrat and some of the work that's involved, and give you a basic approach to get yourself started. We're about to enter the inner sanctum of the trapper's world. This is the business end of the trapping world. So far this year, what they've done, hanging, a couple of beaver pelts there. And what, you got two of them on the board?
Two beaver on the board, these are ready to come off. This is our first board. Two smaller ones. Those will come off today. Plenty of work to do in the shed today.
Alright.
Couple laying here on the bench. These are the last two. These got to get fleshed out yet. And then just one muskrat here. We'll skin this one up real quick. A little stiff, a little froze. A couple gambles hanging here. Usually me and my son are in here. You guys that have been trapping for years, I've been trapping for 3 years, so give me some slack here. I skin my rats. I don't skin them on the bench. I skin them on the gamble. It works better for me. So, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of guys that will say, oh, you're doing it wrong, but this is what works for me. I put the least amount of holes in them. So, for those that have not seen this before, I'll try and do it without tearing it. I'm not going to rush because I don't want to tear it. I'll start with one leg in there, in the gambrel, all the way up to the leg. To the heel, I should say. Bring it around. Switch. I know, you can rip me apart. I'm a new trapper, but this is what works for me. I just like the tension that I get between the tail and the foot. I get a straighter cut usually. Again, from the tail, try and get a straight line. Right up to the heel. Bring the heel. And then ring the tail. I leave a little bit of tail on there. Just prevents me from cutting through the hair, which hair is the worst thing for a knife edge. It will dull it faster than concrete. And it's easier to board with that on there. So I'll just work the tail out a little bit real quick. That loosened up. Make sure I'm all the way through the skin here. Just like it. And then I'll run my hand down the back. The bellies on the muskrat, for those of you who have not done too many of them yet, you learn real quick, are the easiest place to make a tear. And then the guts fall out. If there's one thing that's not a pleasant odor, it's the guts of a muskrat. This one's a little froze. But you're working on the back, you got a lot tougher hide back there. You're not going to tear it as easy. And then I'll go all the way down his back with my fist, my hand, work it out. And that gives me a lot easier working area later. I won't have to use the knife so much. And then you can work around the back side of the legs just with your fingers. There's no knife blade poking in there. I'm not going to cut anything. back sides of the legs. And then go down. Now you can start to see you're coming around to the belly. Yeah, boy, where that belly, that inner membrane meets the belly muscle, it doesn't like to let go, and then you pull on that belly muscle and hide, and it will tear that belly wide open on you. Like I said, it's not the end of the world, it's just not a pleasant smell. And now it's a little harder to work around it. So now, you know, on the belly, I use the knife a little bit more, just so I'm not pulling so hard on it. Get around the vent there, as you would call it on most critters. Through it. And you start peeling down. And if you can hold the belly muscle membrane, it's not even muscle back, less chance of tearing it open. So put your hand up against it and hold it. Sometimes you're going to tear it. Otherwise you can trim it. To me, a muskrat is probably the most beautiful soft pelt there is. The colors, softer than the mink, softer than the wild mink. It really is. Most people wouldn't think that, but it is definitely softer than a wild mink. Raise her up a little higher now. Maybe one more. No, right there. Garbage can down here in case we have any guts that want to pop out. Just start slowly pulling. Don't pull too hard. Pull from the back, don't pull from the front. If you pull from the front, you're going to open the belly up or break a leg. See that? Well, let's get the other one, the other one in there. If you get to the point where you pull them apart so far, you just got to do them on the bench. That's all there is to it. So, around the legs. Get so far, and then I go back to using the knife. Just so I pull things open, and you just basically hitting the connective tissue. You're not hitting the pelt. You're not hitting the meat. Now here, you see the ears. Right there and there. That's the inside of the ears. That's the cartilage. You want to cut it close to the skull, so you got a small hole. And I like to leave the cartilage back behind there because, like a beaver, eventually if your pelt doesn't go right away, you'll get slip, which is the hairs pulling out. So you want to make a nice smaller hole. Mine are a little larger than most because I get that cartilage out of there. Okay, a little bit of blood. You don't want that getting on the fur, so just keep the rags around. I don't like it dripping down on the pelt. I've already rinsed it and cleaned it, dried it. So, like I said, you're just getting the connective tissue. You're trying to avoid hitting the pelt or the meat with it, really. When you get to a point where you can reach through the front arms, see my thumbs through there? All I gotta do is just pull the front legs off. Get this second one. Get your thumb or index finger through there. Just pull. And it'll leave perfect spot to leave the fur. So some guys, they'll catch 70, 80 muskrats. Some friends of ours on their own YouTube channels, Facebook, in a day, they're catching that many. I don't know how they must have a lot of time. Now there's a lot of cheek meat that's going to stick to the pelt side there. Not everybody does that, but I'll brush it back with the blade. Then it's out of the way. I'll have to clean that off later. It's already cleaned off now. So when I'm fleshing it, I don't have to take that off later. Because working around the face with a fleshing knife, can get kind of dangerous to the pelt quality as well. Oop, I just opened an eye up a little big there. See if I can salvage that. They're not saving the face nowadays, from what I understand, the last couple of years. On muskrat, they're actually using the belly fur more than anything else on the muskrat. They're using it as lining for some mint coats. This would help if I had my glasses on. Yeah, it's a pretty big eye hole. Down the bottom teeth, they got teeth on the bottom like a beaver. I don't pull at this point. I really don't. I put a little bit of tension on there, but I really don't pull. So my eyes aren't too disastrous. That bottom jaw. I like to have a decent circle at the end when I'm done for a fleshing board around the mouth, so it doesn't pull through. I apologize, I'm doing this without my glasses on. Okay. So now all we got left is the nose and around the mouth.
Even the video is much clearer now, John, that you got your glasses
good.
on.
See, no wonder I can do that. There's some tendons that go right to the mouth there. Most guys will pull those off. It's just less chance for me to tear because I'm kind of a klutz when I'm wielding a knife. But yeah, most guys will just pull them out. I cut them. Only takes a sec. And again, even in that little detailed area, I'm still aiming for connective tissue and not meat and not. That's it. Turn it inside out for you real quick and show you. And this is by far the easiest critter to flesh out to. I can't see where it takes you more than 5 minutes to flesh a muskrat. But that's it. His ears are there, his eyes are there, his nose is there, his whiskers. You know, good looking little pelt. So that's it for that. This is my muskrat flesh and beam here. Little piece of PVC I carved. The bigger beams, the wood, I really tend to put a lot of holes in them. And I'm really trying to avoid that. I do enough damage to my pelts. I find these to be fantastic for small pelts. I made this one. You can buy them online. I just took a piece of straight aluminum, put a nice sharp edge on one side, cut a flat edge on the other side, attached it to a handle, and away we go. So when you're doing a muskrat, you want to make sure you leave this membrane of meat on there. They will downgrade you if you take that off. Basically, you want the big chunks of meat and the fat off, and that's it. So most of the fat is right around the front armpits, and that big meat comes off real easy. Big chunk of meat. And I'll clean up around the face if I can. You can see some of that's coming off. It just gives it a better presentation, but they're not going to dock you if you leave that on there. But I like the look of it better. So, see, there's not a ton of fat. This is the middle of winter. It is January, so there's more fat than other times, but these little hand scrapers are great for it. Spin it around. You want to leave that, like I said, leave that saddle on there. Don't you? You're going to put holes in it trying to take that saddle off anyways. Saddle meat. All you got to get is the fat and the chunks of meat off that you may have left on during skinning. All the way down to the end of that pelt too. There's some fat down there. And this is where it's going to look like you might be pulling some flesh off, but you're not. It's just fat and connective tissue. Again, I'll clean up by the head if it'll come off. If not, I'm not going to put a lot of pressure up there, because you know, if you don't take that cheek meat off like I showed you before with the knife when you're skinning it, now is when you have to get it off, and it's probably going to be a little bit more pressure to get it off now. And you just don't want to be doing that. And I will clean up this edge too. after it's dried on the board. I just trim them up. Again, something you don't have to do, but you know, I'm not going for top lot on any of my pelts. I'm just happy when I get a few bucks when they sell. Here we're running into that saddle. We just leave that on. Get all the fat off around there. The other front leg. Fleshing beam, you can see it's just a piece of 6-inch PVC that I trimmed up a little bit. I like the texture and the smoothness of a PVC underneath there. There's less chance you're going to put a gouge in it, and when there's a gouge in your fleshing beam, your knife is going to hit that and you're going to put a hole in your pelt. And you know, you're going to do it every time, because until you get rid of that gouge in your beam. You're going by the length of the belly. Anyways, I'll show you that when I board it real quick. So now I don't have to flesh that, I'm just going to trim it off. That's it. That's as clean as it has to be. Maybe a little bit up here. If it doesn't come off, I'm not going to tear and destroy my pelt. Just to get a little bit of membrane of meat off. I'm going to leave it on there, it's going to dry up anyways. Okay. Grab a board. Hit them up. These are Fur Harvester Auction spec boards. We bought them from Fur Harvester's Auction. In fact, there's their logo. We made a bunch for ourselves last year, and these are cheap. You can buy them. We're still using cheap old pin board pins here. We haven't bought any of the good ones. I start on the back, right at the tail. I give it a decent pull there, but I'm not going to stretch the belly too hard. I'll get my nose pinned off so it doesn't pull down during the drying process. A little bit, so I'll pin that. And when you're putting them on the stretcher board, new guys, make sure that your legs are straight and even on the board. See how they're the same distance from the end? Don't do it twisted. Don't have the face, you know, where your lip is over here and you got one leg on this side and one leg on that side. The graders aren't going to like that. They like a nice, neat presentation, and it'll make a difference in how they grade. Whether they tell you it'll make a difference in how it grades or not, it will. So now the sides, you want to get those down. This is where your money pins are. They're measuring from the nose to the belly, and that's where they're going to give you your size grade for. Okay, be it small, medium, large, extra large, double extra large. This will probably end up being just a flat out large. It's a good adult muskrat. Okay, muskrat, mink, otter, anything you're putting on a board like this, you need a belly board. If you don't put a belly board in there, and I need a short one here, excuse me a sec. If you don't put a belly board in there, it's going to be stretched so tight to that board, you are not going to be able to get it off the board without tearing it. When that pelt is dry, it's going to tear really easy, and the last thing you want is to be ripping and pulling on this thing, because it will tear all over the place. Get yourself some belly boards, cut them out real quick, or I don't know, you probably can buy some. Get them on a belly board. So, I mean, we had these hanging, so we drilled holes in them. Basically, it's just a wedge of wood. You want that gap when it dries and it shrinks to that board, so you can pull this out easy, and now you've got enough slack in the pelt itself to come off the board. Even with a belly board, I struggle sometimes. I mean, they get so tight up around the head and the face. They're really hard to get started. Once they get started, they pull right off. So what we've been doing lately is kind of a flat across presentation with the belly. They're going from here to here is what I understand. Your shortest length on the belly. So, you know, when they're dry, we'll clean that up, make it nice. We won't take much off because we don't lose our length, but it'll be a much straighter line. when it's all dried and ready to come off. So we'll finish pinning him out real quick. Cool. So here's our drying rack. I'll turn on my fan over here. I already got some beaver castor drying down there. This just drops down a couple doors. And we got a rack system in there. Slide it into the rack. Now you're in front of the fan. Okay. A couple beaver casters. Here's one that's probably ready to come off the board. Not yet. Another day or so. My fan going. Oh, my fan's unplugged right now. I'll have to plug that in. It's handy. It beats hanging them up on the ceiling, and it dries them in 12 hours. Last year and the year before, we were out in the garage. This wasn't here, and you get the pelts skinned and fleshed and boarded and hang up in the garage, and it's 17 degrees out. They wouldn't dry because they're freezing before they're drying out. Now we're keeping it above freezing. You know, most guys keep it about 50. We don't quite keep it that warm in here because we got a fan blowing right over them. So we keep it around 40-45 while we're drying pelts. Otherwise we shut it down and let things freeze in here. They're as close to freezing as we can with the freezer compressor running in here. And that's it. See, fan's running, it's blowing right across my pelts. There's no base to it, but all the air is really focused on those pelts. So, and our beautiful little casters and oil glands. That's it. We're blessed. We got a fur harvester's auction warehouse about 10 miles away, 15 miles away. So we can go get our supplies there. We drive and deliver our pelts right to the auction warehouse, where from there they'll ship them up to Canada. And then depending on where this year's auction is, if it's going to be in Canada or like last year it was in Helsinki, Finland, they'll ship them off from there.
If you would like to see further video trapping info or have any questions, just drop us a comment with your specific area of interest. We'll do our best to try to answer any questions or provide any additional videos that could help you out. And again, to watch our pro staff members on their trap lines, please check out James Pitzel's YouTube channel. Well, that's it for this week's video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and hit the like button. And then, if you're not already a subscriber, please go ahead and hit that subscriber button. I'm trying to drive my subscription rate higher. I'd appreciate it if you subscribe. The plus is, you're never going to have to wait for me to notify you. There'll be a little message popping up if you subscribe saying I got a new video out there. So you don't have to wait for me to send you another email or start looking on your own to see if I forgot about you. So hit that subscribe button. You won't miss any of the action, I promise you. You can comment below if you'd like to, and if you wouldn't want to comment below and put your comments out there in the public eye, well, you can also contact us at rappentoutdoors360@gmail.com. Again, I appreciate your comments. I enjoy reading them. I enjoy hearing from you guys. You got any questions, comments, whatever, feel free to contact me. Again, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.